Throughout his career, William Walker Atkinson wrote and published over 100 books, some under his own name and many under pseudonyms. In 1909, he published 4 complete books of the Arcanes, or Wisdom of the Ages. These 4 books can provide the seeker with some of the deepest answers to life. Book 1 is called The Arcane Teaching and covers the fundamental principles of arcane knowledge, including such topics as the cosmos, the life of the ego, fate or free will, the astral plane, occult forces, and arcane secrets. Book 2 reveals the arcane formulas. Book 3 discusses vril or vital magnetism, and you can see my video on that section. And Book 4 is titled The Mystery of Sex or Sex Polarity. In this video, I'm going to give an overview of Book 1 of the series, focusing on the sections I found most intriguing. Atkinson tells us that the arcane teaching has come down to us through past eras, races, and schools of thought. It is difficult, however, to trace it back further than the time of Pythagoras, about 500 BC. In spite of this, Atkinson says even the Pythagorean and ancient Grecian arcane schools were founded on occult instruction far more remote and received in a direct line of succession of teachers and students over centuries of time. The tradition of the Arcanes holds that the teaching, in some form, has been known to the advanced minds of every great civilization of the past, even though many of these disappeared thousands and thousands of years ago. The teaching was handed down from the elder brethren of the human race via certain advanced souls who planted the seeds of truth. These seeds then grew, blossomed, and bore fruit in the ages to follow. What does the word arcane mean? It is derived from the Latin word arcanus, meaning shut up, closed, hidden away. Arca means a treasure chest. The English word means hidden, concealed, secret, esoteric, mystic. Therefore, the term the arcane teaching means the secret doctrine. Atkinson tells us that the old teachings are kept alive by a loosely organized body of men who have lived in all countries since the days of ancient Greece and probably for thousands of years prior to that time. The innermost teachings, however, are never written or printed, but passed along orally from teacher to student and reserved for the few, because it would be dangerous were the teachings to fall into unworthy hands. The exception to this rule regarding written or printed teachings, however, is found in a document known as the Arcane Scroll, which contains many statements important to the teaching. Atkinson discusses each one of these arcane aphorisms in a series of lessons in his book. The arcane teaching is based upon the fundamental principle of the existence of an absolute supreme power, which is the cause and reason of the cosmos and all the manifestations contained therein, what we call the universe. This absolute supreme power is known as the law. Other than the law, there is nothing but infinity, which is nothingness. Infinity is a state of no thingness, but contains in latent form all possibility, potency, and promise of everything, past, present, and future. The arcane teachings say that at the expiration of the great cycle of time, after eons of cosmic night or period of infinite nothingness, the law moved over the emptiness of infinity, and the first activities of a new cosmic day or manifest cosmos began to show themselves. The first manifestation is the cosmic will, and that's will with a capital W, or life principle. This universal being is under the law and relative to it and is not absolute. From this cosmic will or universal life principle is manifested the cosmos or manifested universe of life, shape, and form. The cosmic will is the one which becomes many, the unity in which is diversity, the firstborn from the womb of infinity, the cosmic egg from which hatches the universe. Atkinson describes the cosmic will as the one universal living creative principle which has been recognized in all of the great philosophies of all times and places. In many different philosophies, this principle is the same. A one living creative something from which the many emerged, a unity which preceded diversity. According to ancient teachings of the Atlanteans, Chaldeans, and Egyptians, this universal life principle subdivided itself into the many forms of life and things in obedience to an inner law of its being. Likewise, ancient Hindus held that the one manifested as the many. Ancient Greeks always held to the existence of the universal life principle, though they called it by various names. The Stoics called it the animundi, or world soul. Pythagoras taught the doctrine of the life principle and symbolized it as light or flame. Atkinson says that the Platonian school called this universal life principle the demiurge. The true meaning of the term, he says, is universal worker. The demiurge was held to be an exalted and mysterious agent by and through whom the Absolute was supposed to have created the universe. The life of the demiurge flowed out into manifold forms and became the many. This idea was taught by the Gnostics of the early Christian church. Another name for the cosmic will or universal life principle is the Logos. The Logos was held to be the creative principle of nature, objective in the world, given order and regularity to the universe of shapes and forms which it had manifested. Atkinson says that in the early Christian church there was much dispute about the Logos, but by the time of the Emperor Constantine it was driven from its place of importance in the Christian theology. The Arcane Teaching holds that the cosmic will, the firstborn of the womb of infinity, the cosmic egg from which hatches the universe, is, in its last analysis, spirit. By spirit is meant essence. Essence is a term derived from the Latin word esse, meaning to be. Therefore, essence or spirit means the beingness of being. Spirit is the essence of the cosmos. It is that which is firstborn of the infinity of nothingness, the first thing to be. And from spirit all the cosmos proceeds, and at last the cosmos is all spirit. Back of spirit there's nothing but the infinity of nothingness, and over and above spirit there's nothing but the law. Spirit is being, and being is spirit. The Arcane Teaching uses the term cosmic will to indicate the creative activities of spirit. Spirit is the essence of the cosmic will, and cosmic will is the outward activities of spirit. But spirit and cosmic will are the same thing in its inner and outer aspects. By will is not meant that human quality called will with a small w. That will is but the mental quality which calls forth will with a capital W. Will is the principle of all activity. It is activity in itself. Life is one of the manifestations of the cosmic will. Will is the lifeness of life. It is the outward aspect of spirit. In the cosmos is contained what Atkinson describes as the three principles. These are substance, motion, and consciousness. From these three principles arise all the infinite variety of combinations of mind, energy, and matter which manifest in the universe. The cosmic will, which is embodied in the human brain substance, must constantly manifest changes within the substance in order that it may become conscious. It must do this constantly and perpetually, else it becomes unconscious. The cosmic spirit or will, awakening from its sleep of unconsciousness during the cosmic night in the infinity of nothingness, seeks consciousness. Consciousness is the livingness of its life. The Arcane Teaching holds that there are infinite planes of evolution in groups of 7, which are subdivided in 7, and that the cosmos is regulated by the 7 laws, which are superimposed by the law upon the cosmic will, and thus upon all that is manifested. The 7 laws are as follows. The law of orderly trend. Under this law is manifested law and order in the cosmos. There is no chance or disorder in the cosmos. The universe is governed by law, and all things are under the laws of the cosmos. The law of analogy. This law manifests a correspondence and agreement between all things on all planes. This is where the as above, so below axiom comes from. The law of sequence, meaning events proceed in a continuous stream, ever flowing onward. No event is separate or isolated. Every event has its cause and its effect. The law of rhythm. Everything vibrates and moves from one pole to the other, from one extreme to the opposite. Day is always followed by night, summer by winter, heat by cold, action by reaction. The law of balance. This means that there is universal equilibrium, compensation, and balance. Everything has something balancing and counterbalancing it. Everything has its price and its compensation. Nature always maintains its balance. Humans are subject to this law of compensation, meaning we must pay our price for everything. We can never get something for nothing. The law of cyclicity. Everything moves in circles or cycles or spirals. Worlds, nations, peoples, and individuals travel in cycles. The strong convert the cycles into spirals. And last, the law of opposites. This means everything has its opposite pole, its other side. Everything is a paradox. One phase of this law is the law of polarity. Atkinson tells us that in this law are locked many arcane secrets. Atkinson also discusses what the arcane teachings say about the important philosophical problem of the one and the many. He says that those philosophies which hold that the one life is the absolute are unable to resolve this problem. The arcane teaching says, on the other hand, that the cosmic one life is not the absolute, but it is under law. There is but one life and not many lives. Separateness is but relative and partial, illusory. The cosmic will preceded what we call life, and it existed before life as we know it appeared in the cosmos. The great cosmic energies and activities which manifested in world building in all its phases were manifestations of the cosmic will bestirring itself. The cosmic will from the beginning sought to embody itself in objective form in order to manifest consciousness. Like the life forces in any being, it first concerned itself in providing a body for itself, in order that it would have a substantial foundation for further and higher manifestation of its life. In the cosmos, the material plane of activity was the first operated upon. Then came the slowing down of the vibrations of motion, and the principle of substance produced the elementary particles, which, as they combined, formed matter. That matter then evolved into higher forms, eventually resulting in organic life. After all of this, humans were evolved by the one life in its urge toward conscious life. And evolution does not stop here. Humans are merely an intermediate step. Atkinson says that on other worlds in the cosmos, there are beings that are much higher than man. Our planet is only one of millions upon millions upon millions of worlds in which this evolutionary process is at work. We must never forget, however, that the entire cosmos is but one life, in which we are parts of centers, and in its being we live and move and have our being. True spiritual advancement depends upon the increasing recognition and identification of the individual with the all. Atkinson points out that the arcane teaching stresses that the cosmos is and can be conscious only through and by means of the various centers of consciousness within itself. Without these centers of consciousness within itself, the consciousness of all of us, the one life, would be unconscious. As the cosmos advanced in the cosmic day, there was manifested a constantly increasing blending or unification of the various centers of life, a constantly increasing identification of the individual with the all. If centers of consciousness are destroyed, the cosmos once more is resolved into the condition of unconscious nothingness. Thus is accomplished the approach to the cosmic high noon, when the one life as one life and consciousness lives, wills, and is conscious. Before that time comes, the illusion of separateness is manifested. The creative fiction of the cosmos operates in working out the approach to cosmic consciousness. The cosmos or one life manifests as separate units of life because it must do so in order to live and be conscious. However, it is not free because it is under the law and the laws. The law is ever over and above it, and the 7 laws are constantly in operation within it. Since the one life or world spirit is not the absolute, but is under law and laws superimposed upon it, we have a picture of a universal being which suffers with us and through us, attains with us and through us, rejoices with us and through us, conquers with us and through us, and whose life is composed of our lives, whose consciousness is composed of our consciousness. Such a being is one with ourselves instead of an outside power. The realization of this helps us to understand that sense of oneness with the all, which is the great reconciler that harmonizes the opposites and establishes the cosmic balance. This one life is you, and you are it. Centers of life, separate though we are now, are steadily growing toward that time and phase and state of cosmic consciousness in which the all shall know itself as one, and the one knows itself as all. The arcane teachings say that as the ego progresses through the stages of spiritual evolution, its consciousness enlarges and expands, and this includes more and more of the cosmos within it as the self until the stages of cosmic consciousness are reached in which the ego finds itself blending into the whole and the all blending into the self. This is what is meant by cosmic consciousness, spiritual consciousness, transcendental consciousness, the higher consciousness, the moksha of the Brahmins, the nirvana of the Buddhists, the union with God of the mystics, the divine marriage of the Sufis, and the Brahmic splendor of the Oriental poets.